Our world is filled with different types of terrain. Admittedly, some are more appealing than others, but each play an important role in our ecosystem. Most people tend to avoid bogs, wet, hot, and sticky. But each bog is part of a larger process, and in turn, deserves some attention. We decided to hike the Bog Trail on this late September day. We're glad we had seasonally warm temperatures on this trip, as the wind in the area was strong and constant. Our trip around French Mountain Bog began 1,350 feet, or 410 meters above sea level. The entire trail around the bog is boardwalk, as this ecosystem is not only wet, but fragile. Its strange combination of being easily damaged, yet difficult to live in, is interesting. It's this combination that allows niche species to thrive in such environments. Wetlands like this are a common sight on the Highlands Plateau. They are common due to poor drainage and a wet, cool climate. Unlike other ecosystems, bogs receive all their moisture and nutrients from rain, snow, and fog. So you're probably wondering what benefits bogs offer our planet. Bogs act as a giant sponge, soaking up tons of water during wet conditions, and during dry patches slowly release the water. This give and take helps reduce flooding while keeping streams flowing. Bogs may help the local environment, but they don't create a very welcoming terrain for plants and animals. This nutrient-poor area is home to a few plants, however, including the small but mighty sphagnum. Sphagnum is a moss that carpets the ground. They can handle the extreme heat and cold the Highland Plateau gets, plus withstands the harsh winds as seen today. This moss is able to quickly absorb the light and extends its reach by spreading quickly while strengthening itself by building up layer by layer. It wards off competitive plants by releasing harmful acids that only it can withstand, claiming its territory for itself. In addition to its acid reflux problem, it also absorbs all the water in the surrounding area, keeping it for itself. That's why, despite a dry ground, this moss is often damp to the touch. As the moss breaks down, it turns into peat, something we use in our gardens. We often think bogs as wet, water-soaked wastelands. In reality, they can exist in the exact opposite conditions. Bogs can be hot and dry as a desert. As mentioned, when moss begins to die, it turns into peat. The living layers beneath begin to lose their ability to gather water, as the layers on top cover it. Unlike this stage of the moss, certain plants love the hot and dry conditions of the bog, like bog rosemary and leather leaf. These plants combat the hot, dry temperatures by having leather-like, thick leaves that prevent water from escaping as easy due to evaporation. Several types of orchid also grow in this area. Smaller and more delicate than the orchids typically found around our homes, these orchids blossom by the thousands in this very bog. As expected as this may sound, these orchids can take up to 14 years to produce a flower, so seeing them is a very special moment. Other plants that are found in bogs are the notorious bug-eating plants like the Venus flytrap, sundew, or bladderwort. Many of these plants operate in the same way. A scent is released to attract a bug to make its way down the flower. Inside the main flower, often shaped like a jug, are a series of one-way tunnels, or hairs, or water, that close and tighten, trapping the bug inside. Over time, the plant digests the bug and extracts the nutrients, more or less the same way humans go about it. Moving from the plants, there aren't many animals that tend to call bog a home. The green frog, however, is an exception. Green frogs sound a lot like a rubber band or a banjo string being plucked. During July and August, they spend their days making their calls, looking for that special someone. Unfortunately, like many other creatures, the green frog has been on a downward spiral since the mid-1970s, as their population numbers dwindle due to loss of habitat and destruction of bog ecosystems. It's reasons like this that Parks Canada is helping to keep these bogs in place, preserving the unique plants and animals that call them home. As we walked along the path, we were constantly reminded that preserving our earth is everyone's responsibility. Whether that means simply not littering or planting a tree, we can all do our part to keep our earth healthy and happy. Although there are things I know we could do better, we do try to live our best in everyday life. We live in an apartment building, meaning we share heat from our neighbors on each side. And despite owning our own car, both Akane and I take the bus to and from work, supporting public transit and reducing vehicle emissions. In fact, I now work from home, so my contribution in this respect is even less. When we travel, we stay in tents without having to haul a big truck and trailer everywhere we go. And we spend as much time in nature reconnecting with the simple pleasures of our earth. Although this video is designed to show you a trail, the truth of the matter is that we need to show you that each part of our planet is special. Although you may not want to build a house in a bog, the land itself is not useless. In fact, it's home to some of the Earth's most interesting species, and in turn, deserves the respect other terrain types get. To learn more about life within the bogs, or to read about how you can live a greener life, come find an article in our travel guides on our website, joshuatravelguy.ca.